Oi, pessoal, bem-vindos ao Poliglotar 2024 Brasília. Agora a gente vai ter uma palestra da Juliana. Actually, the talk is in English, right? So the introduction should be in English as well. And she will talk about how to learn languages while you travel the world. Juliana is a translator and also a backpacker. She has traveled to many countries already, and yeah, she will give us some tips on how to learn languages while we travel the world. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna start by sharing my presentation with you, and then we can start our conversation. Okay. Dun-dun. Let me know if you can see the screen, if it's going well.
Yeah, very good. No, not yet. We cannot see your screen.
Oh,
Yeah, now we can.
great. So yeah, here we are. I'm here to share some tips with you about traveling and backpacking, and mostly in the cheapest way possible. Let's go. So first, I want to ask, why do you think kids learn languages faster than adults? And I already have some answers, so I'm gonna answer it. So before kids learn how to write and read, they absorb languages from their parents and the people around them, and they're kind of passively absorbing the language through contact. If you have a kid or maybe a nephew or something, the last thing they are is passive. They are very active in their learning. They're touching everything. They're asking why. They're asking what things are. And sometimes they even get something that they shouldn't and try to eat it. Kids are very active, actually. So when you say they're passively absorbing, you just mean like they're not really reading and writing, but they're listening a lot, and they're very curious and open about the things that they are seeing around them. So for us, behaving like a child sometimes can help when you are in a new country and you're learning a language. But for us adults, to learn a new language, immersion is effective but expensive. So that's why I am here to share with you my experiences so you can do immersion without spending all of your life savings to go to another country. Okay, so here we are. I'm sharing my personal experiences and a few apps and sites that are my favorite. This list is not exhaustive, so it's not all the apps that exist. It's the ones that I used, and I can give you tips about it, specifically. And this is us at the Great Wall of China, a place that I am very proud of having visited in my life. So here we have the apps that I'm going to recommend today are these ones, and I have organized them based on price range. So Trust Routes is the first one, and in the end we have regular hotels, which is like considering Airbnb and anything that you pay full price. So we go from 0 to normal price. So these apps are mostly for accommodation and sometimes food and activities as well, depending on the app. Before we start on the apps, I'm going to talk about who I am, so you can trust what I'm saying or not based on what I say. I'm a forest engineer with a postgraduate degree in English. So first I decided to be a professional tree hugger, as my friends like to say, but then I changed because I wanted to travel. And being a researcher is not it's not a career that allows you to travel a lot. So I discovered translation as a way to do that. So I started the postgraduate degree, and that opened a lot of doors for me. And now I have 2 online courses in this platform called Worldpackers that I'm going to talk about today. And the first course is Work from Anywhere as a Professional Translator, and the second one is Basic English for Travelers. So the second one might not interest you, but the first one maybe. So this is a little bit about me. If you have any questions, you can use the chat. All right. These are the places I've been so far. My first experience abroad was in the Netherlands. I went to work for a company, a nursery. So I was taking care of plants, and that's how I learned English through immersion by working abroad. I didn't spend so much money to do that first experience. I'm going to talk about it later. But basically, I was doing work and travel, which a lot of people do to learn English for the first time. And then I started traveling through volunteering, which I'm going to talk about today as well. And after that, after I became a translator, I started traveling while working, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay. So we are talking about planning a trip by yourself, right? Because you want to go abroad, but you don't want to spend all your life savings. And if you go through an agency for that, it's going to cost the price of maybe a car. I don't know. It's very expensive. So we're talking about planning a trip by yourself. Here, I have a few steps that everyone usually has to go through when you're planning a trip. I'm not going to talk about how to get cheap flights, only if we have the time. And I'm not going to talk about visas and stuff because that would take a full hour or more. So our focus is accommodation and food. And if we have the time, I'm gonna talk about transportation and free walking tours. All right. And I have these personal tips. I'm not going to explain them all now, but you're going to see them popping up when I talk about the experiences. The first tip is not very complicated and there's no secret to it. Before you go abroad, change all your electronics to the target language. Any language at all. I did that with English, but I know it works for other languages too. Surround yourself with the language before you go. Study a little bit. Don't go like without knowing how to say, good morning, I need food, and how much is the bus? You have to know the basic stuff before you go. And then you can follow the other steps that I'm going to talk about in the following slides. So they are: behave like a kid, go alone, say yes, make mistakes, trust but don't be naive, and keep a journal. I'm going to talk about them one by one. Thank you. Okay, go alone. This is the first app then from the list, right? I went alone this year to the Netherlands because I wanted to visit the country because I lived there before and I love the country. And I found this app and I really trusted it because it was the first time I used it. And it is 100% free. All the other apps have like a membership fee. It's very low usually, but this one is still free because it's new. So what is it? It's the same as Couchsurfing. I don't know if you are familiar with Couchsurfing. You can say on the chat if you're not, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. It's the same as Couchsurfing, so you have free accommodation at someone's place in a different country, and the goal is for you to exchange anything like language, culture. The goal is for you to get to know people from other countries and have fun with them. And my experience was pretty surprising because I didn't know this guy lived in an anti-crack house. If you're gonna talk in Dutch. This was in the Netherlands. I don't know if I said that. I think I did. An anti-crack house is basically anti-squatting. So this house, the next slide, this house that you can see the top right and bottom left, it used to be a home for the elderly, but then they didn't have enough people anymore and it was abandoned. So people started breaking in and living there. So the government decided they would give this house to students because there is a university right next to it, like maybe less than 10 miles away. And they opened the house for the students and they pay very low prices for the rooms, like 200 euro for a private room with your own bathroom. So that's very cheap for the region, for the Netherlands, I mean. And it's a huge house with a volleyball court, a lake, a fully equipped kitchen, and the rooms are spacious. So they have a very, very nice situation going on there, and they decided to have people over from other countries because it's nice for them to show how this works, you know. This is very new for me. I couldn't even picture something like this happening in Brazil. People just having such nice places to live like that for such a low price just because the place is abandoned. Can you imagine that in Brazil? So this is a very, very amazing. It was an opportunity for me to open my mind a little bit and get to know other realities. And I helped them like to pay for my stay. I helped them with their work in the farm. So this is a greenhouse, and in the Netherlands, they need greenhouses because the winter is very, very cold. So they use a lot of greenhouses. It's sort of their specialty. And I learned about their plants and the species and how they manage the greenhouse and what they do there to keep the farm going. And yeah, I learned about Dutch lunch because they usually eat just bread and some cheese for lunch. And Brazilians go with rice and beans and meat. And they just eat like a small sandwich for lunch and they're happy with it. So this is the Dutch way of having lunch. And I don't know, I learned like I remembered what it was like to be with Dutch people and how open they are and how much they don't care about social how do you say? They don't care about what is socially correct or what is polite. They're very open-minded and very free about their opinions and very honest. So it was a way to get to know someone else, someone that I would never meet in a normal situation because I went alone and because I tried something new. So this is the first experience. You can use this app by going on trustroots.com. Actually, the site is very good. The app needs to be improved, but you can just open a map and choose a place and send a message to a host, just like you do on Couchsurfing. It's the same thing. So Couchsurfing is, again, a service for you to exchange with other people from anywhere in the world. And the goal is for you to talk and get to know people from other countries. The tips I have for this is you should really pay attention, especially if you're a woman, you should pay attention to how you choose your host, because some people think that Couchsurfing is Tinder. And if you're a woman, you should stay with other women. I know that I stayed with a man, 2 slides before I was staying at a guy's house, but Couchsurfing has become weird in the last years, and I've heard a lot of women talking about it. So that's another reason that I tried Trust Roots, by the way. Still, Couchsurfing is the biggest network of this kind. Crossroads is still small. So if you want to go, let's say, to Asia and Africa, Couchsurfing is going to be better. And if you want to go to Europe and North America, maybe Crossroads is going to be better. We have we have more than 100 Crossroads hosts in Brazil and Couchsurfing as well. So you can still try. So how do you keep yourself safe in a trip like this? You, first of all, verify your own account. So you pay $9 a month or 50 a year to verify your account. So you show them your ID and your address and stuff like that. So the team knows you're a real person. And you have to read every single reference in their profile, because if they have something that makes you feel like you shouldn't go, like if you have any sort of sign that you shouldn't go, just don't go. Listen to your intuition and confirm everything before you go. Ask all the questions that you want. Where are you going to sleep? Ask for a picture. Ask for everything that you need before you go. Don't be shy, and make sure you're going to the best possible place. Have a plan B. So if you're going to a couchsurfing host, make sure it's in a central part of the city. Make sure it's not so far away, it's not very remote, and have a plan B if this person doesn't show up. This woman on the top right is Catherine, and she was one of my first couchsurfing hosts of my life. And she showed up way more than I could ever think, because this was in Frankfurt, and she was supposed to pick me up at the airport. But I don't know if you know this, but Frankfurt has more than one airport, and I didn't know that at the time. So I went to the wrong airport, and I got there at 2 a.m. And this woman went to pick me up. She went from one airport to the other at 2 a.m. to pick someone that she doesn't know. So couchsurfing is very, people there are on couchsurfing for more than 10 years. They have a culture of really, really helping people out, and they will do anything to make you comfortable and make you feel like home. So if you choose the right host, amazing experience. If you're scared, just have a video call before going to see if your vibe matches the hosts, to see if you are the same kind of people. And you can go to couchsurfing meetings even when you're not paying for the membership. And you should, because you can meet people that think like you when you go to couchsurfing meetings. This is my experience in Brazil, in Minas Gerais. I don't know if you recognize this place. This is Inhotim, the museum, the open air museum. And I met this person at a couchsurfing meeting at Edifício Maleta, a very nice place in Belo Horizonte where people go to have a drink and talk and socialize. And in this meeting, I didn't like any of the people there, but this one person showed up 1 hour after the meeting started, and it was important that I stayed there and waited for a little bit and had patience, because after I met this person, he took me to the museum and to his uncle's farm and to a lot of waterfalls in the region. And you can't have that sort of experience by yourself if you don't have a car at the place, if you don't know how to get around. So this whole collaboration thing is very important. And if you are in another country, that's how you learn languages the most, by having memorable experiences with people and by opening yourself to let them love you and be nice to you. If you're too scared to do it, it becomes difficult and you don't see the opportunities because you're too scared. So that takes us to the next thing. Here is about the other lesson, like make mistakes and try to trust the process of meeting people from other countries. Because in this free walking tour, I met this girl from Lithuania, and she didn't have the best English. And I don't consider myself like as the best. I'm not saying that, but she communicated, but she didn't have like perfect grammar and all the verbs in the correct form or whatever. But we went to do this walking tour, which is another app that I'm showing in our list of apps. So this is New Europe Tours by Sandmans, and I met her at this walking tour, and we went to the Hikes Museum, which is the one in the picture. And we didn't need perfect English to look at this medieval paintings and joke about this thing that we don't know if it's a cat or a lion or a dog or a rat. Like, you don't need sophisticated language to be with someone at the museum and go, what is this shit? Like, you can joke around with one word. So you don't really have to worry about having perfect English before you go. You just have to worry about being able to talk to someone. Even if you use sign language or something, you can still make friends. And if you have an accent, this person is probably going to ask, oh, what is this accent from? I like your accent because it's unique. It makes you have like a personality. You don't need to hide your accent. It's actually charming most of the time. So yeah, this for me was a big tip because I am a perfectionist, and that is even bad sometimes for me. So this girl taught me to focus on talking and communication and don't worry about making mistakes so much, and just let people be nice to you. Like, she came to talk to me, and she approached me, and I was a little scared because I was alone in Amsterdam. And it was nice. We spent 2 days together, and she's a psychologist, and we talked about everything, like everything, from politics to our lives to strange paintings. And yeah, we didn't have perfect English. It's fine. The message is, it's fine. Yeah, and about this site, New Europe Tours, you're gonna know them as Sandmans. You can see on the bottom right. So you're gonna find Sandmans all over the world. I used their services in Peru and also in Beijing and also all over Europe. So they are very nice. And it's actually free. You can pay the tour guide if you want to, as much as you can. You don't have to give them a fixed amount. And you have to check the site because there are copycats of these guys. And the instructions to find the guides are very mysterious sometimes. If you don't know the place and you look at these instructions, you're like, where the hell are these people? Because these are names that you don't know in a completely new place. So it sounds a little like, like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you're trying to solve like a puzzle sometimes. So you have to look at the site and pay attention because you're going to go to a very specific corner of the city to find the guys. They're not going to be at the main square together with all these scammers and all the other guys. They're going to be at a specific place with a uniform, and you're going to find them there. These are the instructions for Cusco, by the way. Okay. About meeting people and saying yes. I have a lot of memories that came from this rule that I established. So I never rode a horse, and when I said yes to woofing, which I'm going to talk about later, I was able to ride a horse and even stand on a horse. I did things that I would never do in Brazil. Like, I don't have money to go to to a horse riding school in Brazil or anything like that. So when I did woofing, I had a chance to do something that I never did. On the second photo at the top, you're gonna see a girl doing a paella. And this was a Spanish girl at a place that I lived, and she needed someone to help her because she was going to work at a wedding. And I didn't know how to cook that, and I didn't know Spanish that much. Her English was not perfect either. And we worked together, and I had a new experience for my life. And then she took me to this place in Portugal. The photo at the bottom right is Évora, which is this is a chapel made of bones from the people at the town, from the town, and a lot like the catacombs in Paris. And at the time, I didn't know this kind of place existed either. So I said yes to her proposal of helping her at the wedding and have like 50 euros. She paid me 50 euros to help her. And then she took me on a trip. And it's important when you're in a different country to just say yes to things like that, because I was thinking, I don't know how to cook. How can I help her if I don't know how to do this? But like, you're never coming back to that place again, probably. You're never going to see these people again. So why would you limit yourself to do the things that you already know how to do if you can do all these new random things and end up in new random places with people that are going to change your life? And when you're doing that, you're learning English or another language, because when you make memories with the language, it's going to stick to your brain so much. Like when you have friends in different languages, and you have boyfriends and girlfriends in different languages, it's never ever going to leave your brain. Like, it's amazing how making memories makes it so much easier to speak a language. And still about saying yes. Yes. You don't know how much you can do when you are abroad doing something new, like trying something new. I never thought I was able to cycle, to go on my bike and go 135 kilometers in a day, because we crossed the border between the Netherlands and Germany and back in this day during this experience. So like in Brazil, I would never, ever say yes to someone inviting me to doing something like this. And I was using flip-flops. And this bike, I found this bike in the trash, and I refurbished it, and I fixed a lot of things that were broken, and I just thought, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just come back. Like, and I spent the day with this person that decided to go with me, that invited me, this guy from India that I didn't know. So we were sharing a hostel, and we were just getting to know each other and other people from the hostel. And it was a nice invitation, and I said yes, and I discovered that I can bike much more than I thought, and that the Netherlands are a very flat country, and you can go for a very long time biking there and not feel it. So that happened because I said yes, and now I can understand accents from that part of the world because I spent a day with this guy. So now I have expanded my English abilities because of this guy and this experience. Sometimes you have to say no because you are a reasonable adult, and you don't have to keep saying yes to everything just because you're abroad. Like this story happened in Morocco. I was with a Brazilian friend there, and this guy was very nice to us, invited us to let him be our tour guide. And he said it was 15 euro And we said, sure, why not? And then we walked around. This was in Rabat, city in Morocco. And we walked around. He presented the city for us, and he talked about the city, everything that he knew. But in the end, we were surrounded by 4 of his friends and him, and they coerced us to give 50 instead of 15. And we were 2 foreign people surrounded by 5 locals. And we couldn't just go and run away because this was a different country. So sometimes you have to listen to your intuition and think, okay, I'm going to say no this time. So I keep saying, hey guys, say yes to everything, but sometimes you have to say no as well. And sometimes you have to be reasonable as well. Okay, now practical tips. These are the 4 apps that I use for exchanging work for accommodation, and sometimes food, and sometimes other things. So the first one is Woof. The second one is Worldpackers. The third one is Workaway, and the fourth is Trusted House Sitters. So how do you learn languages through these apps? You let them know in your profile that this is your goal. When you're filling up the website, when you're starting your account, you let them know, because some hosts are prepared for that. So you see in the bottom left, the requirements. This host specifically is from Worldpackers. I took a screenshot from a Worldpackers host, and they say beginner English or beginner Thai from Thailand. So they already know you're learning the language, so you have to pick the right hosts. How do you find these people? I'm going to show you later on. Worldpackers has a filter for that. I'm going to show you later on. So the first one is WOOF. This means Worldwide Opportunities in Organic Farms, and you can sign up. I'm going to show you the price and everything in a few minutes. And at the bottom left, you can see the host. His name is Vincent, and he has this goat farm that his dad is running, and he's helping his dad run it. And he just invites international people to go there. So the girl next to him is American, and the second girl next to him is from Austria. And as you can see at the right side of the screen, that's where we slept, next to the goats. And he made a little show for us, like playing the guitar. There was one guy that played the saxophone. And it was just a nice way to get to know people from other countries. They all spoke French there. So my very small French knowledge come from this experience. And I'm still learning French, so maybe I can come back there someday and speak to him fully in French. Who knows? But this was my first contact with French, and it was very nice. So all the words that I learned from this experience are never going to leave my brain ever, because I really enjoyed being with these people, and it was something new and exciting. He was also the guy that taught me how to ride a horse. So this kind of thing is irreplaceable, and you can't really find it anywhere else. So what is WOOF? It's confusing because WOOF is an association that helps farms get volunteers. So they have a main website with a world map, and you can find the specific websites for each country from this map. And then you open the site for the country, and then you find the price, the conditions, and the hosts. So you see on the left that the prices change for each country. So you have to do your research and decide which country you're going to go, and then you know the price. So you don't have a fixed price for you to plan your trip. Besides that, you pay for your visa and your flights and everything. You have no insurance from them or anything. They're just connecting you to the farmers, okay? So it's up to you to do the planning of your trip. They're just connecting you to the farms. The same as this one. So I was a volunteer at a farm and I was also a volunteer at a hostel. It's the same situation. You're paying for everything, but they're connecting you to the hostel that needs you. And what kind of lesson can you learn from this one? You can do any activity at all when you're volunteer at this kind of situation because they're not expecting much from you. They're just expecting someone to help them a little bit with something that they need. For example, this hostel needed to be painted so it looked more youthful because they wanted to have different guests than the guests they were having at the time. So I just painted the front side with the name of the hostel, and I painted like breakfast at one of the walls and dinner at the other wall and something like that. And they were very happy with that. They didn't care that I wasn't a professional. And that involves the lesson of trusting because you can just trust yourself and try your best, and you're going to be able to help these people somehow. If you're doing this in another country, it's the same. You don't need to be a specialist to do this kind of activity. And how much does it cost? Oh, right. Before we say how much it costs. So how do you pick a host based on trusting people and based on these kinds of experiences like going to a farm or a hostel or yeah, how do you pick a host? First of all, you go to these platforms like Woof and Worldpackers, etc. And you look for the profile of each host and you ask for the social media. And if they don't have any online presence, you just don't go. Because if you are alone in a different country, you have to trust and you have to know they are traceable people, trackable people. So if you're going to a hostel and they don't have an Instagram account or a website or anything, it's hard for you to leave your country and go there to learn the language. So you always look for social media and other places that are present online. You always look for references that were made very recently, like 11 days ago or 12 days ago. If they have a reference on Worldpackers from 3 years ago, you can't trust that. It has to be recent, and you have to confirm everything through message or email. For example, where you're going to sleep, how many meals you're going to have from them, how it works, the work that they want you to do. You have to confirm everything before you go. You can't just trust everything that they write there. The third experience that I'm sharing with you, or fourth, I lost count, is eco-volunteering. I did that in Brazil as well. I did the goat farm in Belgium, and I did this one in Brazil. The goat farm was about animals. This one was about construction, bioconstruction. So we had a few people from England and a few people from Africa and most of the people from Brazil. And we learned about this kind of construction, and we had to do the translation for them of everything that the hosts were teaching us. And I found this experience through Worldpackers. And you can do the same kind of experience with Workaway and Woof. So what's the difference between these kinds of experiences? Why would anyone choose this side or that side to find such an experience? Okay. Worldpackers, which is the one that I used for the painting the hostel experience, costs $49 a year, and you can travel as much as you want for this price. There's no limited amount of volunteering experience you can have. And Workaway costs the same, but Worldpackers has their own insurance, which is very important if your host bails on you. They have a refund if your host doesn't respond in 30 days, and Workaway doesn't have that. They have an academy, which helps you learn maybe a profession so you can have location independence. So let me see. They have all kinds of courses for people that want to be nomads. And my course is there. So that's why I'm showing you this. So I think if you're going for the first time ever in your life, you should go with Worldpackers. And then when you're really experienced, you can go to Workaway and Move. Because Workaway and Move don't have the insurance, don't have the refunds, and don't have the support. Worldpackers is a Brazilian company, so they have support 24 hours a day with Brazilian people to help you. If you're panicking and you want to speak Portuguese, they're the best. And Workaway and Move are international, and they don't have that kind of service. They have no support. Their support is through email, actually. So you have to wait for people to open the email. And Worldpackers has support via WhatsApp. So it's going to be better if you are in a situation like an emergency or if you're panicking. So if this is your first time and you want to try to do something like this, go with Worldpackers. Yeah, this is the kind of experience that you can do with them. So farms, eco-villages, schools, if you want to teach a language and learn another language, like you go to Thailand to teach English and then you learn Thai, you can do that as well. And you can categorize the kinds of experiences that you want to have, like this. So if you look for opportunities in China, now, like yesterday, they had 4 of them. I put 3 here for you to see what it looks like. So you can teach English while you learn Chinese at the school, and they need you for 20 hours a week, and you're gonna have a private room for yourself and 3 meals. So it's an advantage because you can stay up to 12 weeks. And if you think about how much it would cost to have a private room with all meals in China and paying full price, it's going to be much, much more than the 49 bucks a year that you would pay. So what is the con? Like, this is the pro. Okay, private room, 3 meals. This is a pro. What are the cons? You have to teach 20 hours a week. So you're not really on vacation, but still, I think it's better. Like you're teaching English to kids and you're learning Chinese and you're in a different country and you don't have to spend all your money to do this. I think it's a lot of pros and not so many cons, in my opinion. And if you like creative work, you can go be a photographer in China. You can edit videos to promote their Kung Fu school. Like you have all kinds of things that you can do. You can be a blogger, you can be a photographer, you can be a teacher, you can paint a hostel, you can take care of goats, you can cook, literally whatever. It's like hundreds of possible things you can do as a volunteer abroad using these sites. Yeah. The third one is a permaculture project. So you're gonna learn how to farm and how to build. Oi.
I think we are running out of time. Do you have many slides yet? I don't know. How many more?
How many slides?
Yeah.
Not so many. I think 5. Yeah,
5.
I think 5 minutes.
Yeah, could you speed up a little bit? Thanks.
Okay, I will. I will try my best. So, okay, the only thing that Workaway has and Worldpackers doesn't have is the language buddy program, where you can sign up and you can practice languages with people from other countries. And they filter these people, so there are no, how do you say? The possibility of people trying to use it as Tinder is low because they're filtering the people. So it's a good way to learn a language. Yeah, this is just an example of how you can exercise your language abilities on a trip like this. So if you go to a hostel, after you do all your preparation at home, like buying a book in that language, changing your electronics to that language, practicing and everything, you can do things like cook for everyone in the hostel and try to make a small presentation about why you're cooking that. What is that food all about? Why do you like to cook it? Maybe your grandma used to do that for you when you were a kid. So you can try to write a story about this food and cook for everyone in the hostel, and that's gonna be a practice for you in the language. And even if you make mistakes, everyone there is just interested in learning from you because they probably never met a Brazilian person before, or if they did, they're meeting another version of a Brazilian person. It's just you can be confident that it's going to be new for them as much as it is new for you. And the last one is pet sitting that I haven't tried, so I have no stories about it. This is my next project. You can help people that want to go on a trip and they have no one to watch their dog or cat. So you pay about $500 a year and you can have a whole house for yourself and you can do chores and take care of other people's pets around the world. And the only con of this experience is that you have to know a little bit about how to keep the pet healthy. So if they need, for example, a medication or an injection or something, you have to be the person that does that. So you have to know a little bit about taking care of animals to do that, but still very good. This is very strong in Canada and Australia and New Zealand and Europe. And since I haven't done it, you can look up these people and they will give you all the information you need about this kind of experience because they're doing it right now. Okay, so now we stop. If you have any questions, yeah, this is the extra part that I was gonna say only if we had the time. So I'm gonna stop.
Okay, thank you so much, Juliana.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions?
You can stop sharing your screen now.
Okay.
And thank you so much for the tips and also nice stories about your traveling the world.
Thank you.
Guys have any questions to Juliana? No? I have a question. You have backpacked in Europe and South America and even Asia. Where do you prefer to backpack, and what's the difference in terms of safety or costs or people's mood to receive you?
Okay. Europe is the easiest one, and I'm guessing people already know that answer because backpacking is very popular there. And for example, they have they were the first people to make like hostels and stuff like that. So they are like the pioneers of backpacking. But Asia is very, very cheap and people are very receptive as well. And South America is just like home. So if you go, when I went to Peru, I felt like I was in Brazil. My answer is just like, I like every place. But Europe is better.
Hey, we have a question from Jurubola. Jurubola, please, you can use your camera and microphone.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
All right. I'm sorry about the camera, but my laptop has no camera, but you can have my voice here now, so it's cool. I'm sorry I got really late to this presentation, but I have a question. Have you ever tried Helpix?
No, I haven't. That's why I didn't put it there. But
Oh,
it's a
but you know
it's a
about it.
real platform made by real people and it's relatively safe. Like it's the same as Worldpackers and Workaway and Move, and it's been there for a long time, for years and years. So you can use it with the same tips that I gave today. But you have to check the hostel, do everything
What's
that
the name of that app?
Helpex.
I'm gonna write it. All right, you can. All right, sure. All right,
Yeah.
I have another question, if it's permitted. Have you tried like different platforms that is not specifically for like exchanges, like Couchsurfing or let's say Be Welcome or Trust Roots?
Yes. Trust Roots was the first one that I showed today, and Couchsurfing was the second. I have
Oh,
tried them.
nice.
It
You
was
know,
very
I've just published. Oh, that's so nice. I've just published a video about that on my YouTube channel. But that's amazing to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jurubola, for the question. For people who don't know, Jurubola is the guy who started the Polyglot Club in Brazil 11 years ago.
Taiwan?
The Polyglot Club in Brazil.
Ah, cool.
Now
Very nice.
Jurubola is in Africa, right? And thank you so much, Juliana. We don't have more time. Jurubola, try to fix that camera because we want to see your face in the next presentations.
Oh, did we record this? Am I
Yes.
going to be able to
Yes,
see
it's
this on
recorded.
YouTube?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, nice. Thank you for having me, and I hope this helped you guys somehow.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.